Hi, everybody, and welcome into the Hump Day version of the Fun Astrology video podcast. Thomas Miller here. Let's go straight to the chart because we've got a lot to talk about on this sequence involving Venus, Mars, and Saturn squaring the nodes of the moon. So what are we talking about? Well, this is the big aspect today. Venus is in a square to the south node of the moon, and also, of course, a square to the north node of the moon. Now, this is some very important astrology, and a lot of people don't talk about what's called the bending of the nodes. In fact, there are only a handful of articles that discuss this. Kathy Allen on Mountain Astrologer, and it's also on Astro.com, wrote a very good article about this where she basically traced through everything. And one of the concepts is called being at the bending of the nodes. So if we thought about this as a straight line, an axis line, when we start at the north node and we go clockwise, if we encounter the planet at the square there, and I guess theoretically you could have one in both places, that would be strange, but you could. If you're going clockwise from the north node, this is the south node of the bending of the south bending of the nodes. The way you can think about that is that it basically positions the moon, the nodes, at their lowest declination, which is, in the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice, which is Capricorn, which represents the south bending. If we keep going and we came over here, then we would have the north bending, and that would be represented or reflected by the highest declination, i.e. Cancer, in the summer solstice. So that's how you could keep that in mind if you get confused on which one is which. Think of the first rotation, because the nodes of the moon go backwards. So that's why the first encounter you have from the north node is the south bending. I know it's backwards, but so are the nodes. So just think of it kind of like backwards. Well, I would think that the first encounter would be the north. And there you can just flip it around. Okay? So that's the bending of the nodes. That's the concept. All right, so today is Venus. Now, let's take a look here and move this up. Let's go up to Monday. And Monday day, Saturn will be at 22 degrees. There will be an exact in there on Monday. And then on Tuesday, let's go up one more day. Now we have Saturn and Mars conjoined. They conjoin. It's like 10 p.m. on the 4th. See, we're up here on the 5th. I'm not dialing these in directly because I don't want you to sit here and watch me fumble through these times. But see, look. 22 degrees. Everything's 22. 22, 22, 22. So that would be fours in numerology, wouldn't it? Which might give us some saving grace. And like I said, we're talking about the two malefic planets. And this is where I was saying on the audio version of the podcast, my friend it was a doctor friend actually, who was saying lions and tigers and bears. Oh no! And we have lions and tigers and malefic planets squaring the nodes of the moon. Oh no! We might want lions and tigers and bears and running from them. He was talking about our sympathetic and parasympathetic reactions. Fight or flight. Well, look, we have two sides of the coin. So from the macro perspective here, what might this involve? I think we have to observe. We're living in times when if you come out and you definitively try to say this or that is going to happen because, I think you're setting yourself and astrology up to look foolish. Because every coin, Stephen Forrest, famous quote, has two sides. And we have to look at the full perspective of this. So one side of this aspect could be that all of a sudden we start to think from a more Capricornian structural, hey, how many people have you heard say that it's all broken and we just need it all just needs to be cleaned out and reset, fixed? That could be this kind of thinking. Like what we're doing right now, I mean, honest to goodness, come to grips with what the direction that we're going isn't serving us. It's not working. Is that likely? Corporately? No, but individually, absolutely. The shadow side of it is, like I said, my experience, because in my chart, I have Saturn on the bending of the nodes, and it's over here in the north side, in the north position. And my experience, my personal experience with that position has been karma will find you. Your sins will finally discover. Your sins will, what is it? Surely your sins will be found out, right? The quote. Surely your sins will be found out. Old Bible quote from back in those days. So Saturn will do its work. It's just a matter of how, and how willing are we going to cooperate. If we cooperate on the positive side, then it starts to lay the groundwork for a lot of the future of how we will rebuild from here, especially when we move all of this energy into the spiritual sign of Pisces. If we're living consciously, that sets the tone for bright, conscious, high energy days ahead. But if we don't and we resist, then Saturn will do whatever it needs to do in order to get our attention. So I think we have to observe. We did tie on Monday, we tied Venus into the United States chart in the 6th house, which we talked about agriculture, food, crops, etc. So we have that connection. And I would say that's the thing to keep our eye most closely on. But the rest of this, I think we just observe and see and realize that, like so many of these other aspects that have come in the last 2 years since Saturn and Pluto in January of 2020, that these come in dominoes. And maybe it's a domino trip of several things to happen. I will say that in 2024, it is actually in August of 2024, these two guys play a really big role in the United States chart. The alignment is that the natal Mars and the solar arc Saturn conjoin in August of 2024. That's in the sign of Gemini in the United States chart, where Mars is natally in that position. So we'll see. This might give us a little bit of a wee hint of what that alignment could look like. But these are transits. See, these go by quickly. So I want to point it out. And then in the context of Venus especially is going to move off of it fast. Mars is moving quickly right now, so it's going to not stay there more than just a day or two. So the theme doesn't have the time to soak and sink in like that solar arc aspect does. So our eyes have been awakened to what is there. We will watch together, and we will certainly announce or correlate anything that we see to what's going on at that time. All right? Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you stopping by. Hope you have a great hump day. See you back tomorrow.